Sit down. This way. Translator. Oh. Yes. You have something to say?
Yeah. I will start. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have a pleasure to welcome you all to this afternoon's event in which His Holiness the Dalai Lama will address on Ahimsa, India's contribution to the world. This will be followed by questions and answers. Before I hand over the mic to my colleague Vinod Taylor, I would like to show our appreciation to two musicians, namely Finlay and Sarthe, who entertain us for more than an hour now. And my also many thanks to Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan for organizing the musicians. I will now invite Mr. Vinod Taylor to introduce His Holiness.
Thank you. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I would like to thank His Holiness for gracing us with His presence. We are truly honored to have the opportunity to be enlightened by your wisdom. I thank you for all coming to hear today's lecture, Ahimsa, India's contribution to the world. The word Ahimsa originates from the Sanskrit himsa, which means to strike or cause injury. Therefore, Ahimsa means the opposite, non-violence and to do no harm. Today, His Holiness will discuss the implications that this teaching has had on the world. When people think of Ahimsa, they think of peaceful, non-violent protest by the oppressed people against the oppressor, a powerful tool for the revolutionary, social, and political change. Notable examples include the philosophies of Gandhiji and Martin Luther King. However, this would be to take a narrow view of what the principle of Ahimsa truly is. It is an all-encompassing, holistic approach to life. It includes humanity's relationship with the planet, the plants and animals that coexist with human life. Ahimsa is often linked with or used as a synonym for peace and is frequently equated with pacifism or passivity. His Holiness, however, considers nonviolence to be compassion in action. That doesn't mean weakness, cowering in fear, or simply doing nothing. It is to act without violence, motivated by compassion, recognizing the rights of others. Born on 6 July 1935, that makes him a young 80 years of age, to a farming family, His Holiness describes himself as a simple Buddhist monk. Embarking on his monastic education at the age of 6, His Holiness has traveled to more than 67 countries, spreading his message of peace, non-violence, interreligious understanding, universal responsibility, compassion. His Holiness has described himself as a messenger of ancient Indian thoughts to the world, and it is certainly an apt description. The role has been exemplified by His Holiness' leadership of the Tibetan people and adherence to the principle of nonviolence. His efforts in support of the Tibetan people led to His Holiness being awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989. Over the years, His Holiness has sought to enlighten people and shed new light on socio-economics, political and environmental issues, whilst promoting happiness, well-being, and peace. When expanding on his commitment to promote the human values and religious harmony, he always mentions the need for promotion of secular ethics, which he says transcends religious whilst not negating them. The 2 last decades have been a time of rapid change, which makes the presence of such figures of paramount importance to ensure this change is for the good. I would like to finish with a quote from His Holiness. "Nonviolence means dialogue using our language, the human language. Dialogue means compromise, respecting each other's rights in the spirit of reconciliation. There is a real solution to conflict and disagreement. There is no 100% winner, no 100% loser. Not that way, but half and half. And that is the practical way, the only way." Ladies and gentlemen, His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
Stand, sir. Stand together. Yes, stand. Together. Stand, you do. You shall. I don't from here. My English, quite broken English, so I think you may find it difficult to understand some of my brothers and sisters. Now tomorrow I'm leaving from here to United States. So now this is one the public sort of meeting. So last few days I really feel some meaningful short visit. I have 3 commitments. Number 1 commitment, as a human being. 7 billion human beings, same human being. Mentally, emotionally, physically, same. And in emotion, some constructive emotion and destructive emotion. We all have these both. But basic human nature is more compassionate because compassion brings together. We are social animals. And also, you see, the way began our life from mother and parents, also the immense affection, love, is the very basis of our survival. That also, according to scientists, after birth, next few weeks, simply mother's physical touch is key factor for proper development of the brain. Then there are some more sort of the reasons according to scientific finding. So we are basically born from parents' affection. Therefore, we are basically compassionate sort of species of mammal. Even animal, which has come from their mother, you see there is biologically some kind of emotional feeling. You see, come closer. Okay. Okay. Good. Thank you. So, So then, in our daily life, you see, when someone show us smile, affection, we feel safe, happy. If someone show a little bit negative face, we a little bit sort of uncomfortable. And through that way, suspicion develop. So, in our daily life, the compassionate atmosphere is the real basis of our joyful life. And then we, as a social animal, friendship is very essential. Friendship not not depend money, fame, education, or physical sort of strength. But real friendship entirely depend on trust. Trust based on affection, love. When you show genuine sort of sense of concern of their well-being, then trust comes. So therefore, and then I think of our health, physical health. Now medical scientists, you see, they found constant fear, constant anger, hatred, actually eating our immune system. For health, calm mind is very essential. Anger, fear destroy calmness of mind. Because of the calmness, calm mind, very much related with self-confidence and inner strength. Anger destroys the inner strength. Anger usually, I think, out of fear, anger comes. Out of suspicion, fear, then anger comes. So I think anger also part of our mind, but dominant our mind is love, compassion. From the day of birth, even before birth, while we still in mother's womb, the mother's peace of mind, very crucial factor for the unborn child. Mother's fear, anger, very bad for the unborn child. So our life starts that way. Then everybody, 7 billion human beings, we all got nourished by mother's milk. Then at the end of our life, it is to see much sort of happier, surrounded by trusted friend. So, affection, love, very important at the beginning of our life and also at the end of our life. So between there, sometimes we feel we are independent. I do not need any affection. I can manage. I think they are short-sighted. Those sort of rich people, or I have plenty of money. So the human affection is not important. I have a great education, professor, or like that. When that person, when passing through very much sort of a sad sort of, or say the movement, your money failed to bring joyfulness. Your education will not protect you from that sorrow or pains. I often telling, when we face some, say, mentally uncomfortable feeling due to certain sort of trouble, and then if you want to get some consolation, right? Consolation from your ring, diamond ring, with expectation, some consolation. The diamond ring, no potential, no ability to show you affection. But instead of diamond ring, cat, small cat or dog, if you really feel very sad, and then, they may showing some sort of, kasa? Yes, affection. They show. And dog and cat, they have not much sort of ability to talk. So they only can lick. So, like that. So therefore, affection, love, compassion is very, very important for our life, happy life. And the very purpose of our life, I believe happiness, joyfulness is purpose of our life. Quite clear. The individual completely lost hope, then that very sort of mental thinking shorten our life. And then worst thing, someone completely lost sort of hope, then suicide also, or drugs, eventually suicide take place. So hope. So therefore, our life very much based on hope, but there's no guarantee what kind of future come, but hoping something good. Even today, you face some problem. Still, keep hope, or I can overcome like that. So hope means something for something good, something happiness. So therefore, our life, very purpose of our life, very much related with happy life. Clear? Now that joyfulness, hello. Now sorry. At the beginning, a little bit cold. So I asked you, this, now a little bit hot. I always acting completely informal way. The formality. I want to tell you one story. Many years ago, in Mexico, one interfaith sort of meeting. And there are some different sort of religious representatives. Delegates, you see, different religious tradition. Then one Japanese Buddhist, you see, when he, I think some carry some kind of pray carry as their tradition. You see, his rosary is like that. Then somehow, because of the string of the rosary broke. Then some bead of the rosary is scattered, but still he remained. Nothing happened. He still carried like that. So then I was very much thought they want to pick up these scattered beads. But he still remained like that. You see, too much formality, I think. There's almost, I feel some kind of self-torture. Right? Then, if may I say so, this is Great Britain. So, when I was young, Life magazine I received regularly. So one picture, I remember Her Majesty You see, I think some ceremony in some of the African state or something. So she gives some, or say they read some statement. And beside her, Her Majesty, the Prince Philip is a stand. Then wind, you see, Her Majesty sort of clothes, more dignified sort of clothes. The wind, you see, become like that. But I think American photographer, you see, quite strange. You see, take that opportunity took the photo. So you see, Queen remained, nothing happened like that. Oh. Then Prince Philip also, you see, just so sometimes you see, too much formality is actually, I think, extra barrier. I think when we're born, no formality. When we die, no formality. Maybe a little bit dirty. When we carry some work in bathroom, no formality. So basic human nature is, you see, compassionate. Now some scientists carry some investigation, experiment. They can, some scientists confirmed basic human nature is more compassionate. So this is really a hopeful sign. Now, reason, a lot of problems which we are facing. Most of these problems are actually our own creation. Nobody wants problem, but many problems created by ourselves. Why? Now my sort of second, on the first, so they have, we very much sort of emphasis importance of secondary level of differences, including religious faith, and a different country, different nationality, within different color, different sort of race. Within same race, same faith, again we make a distinction, rich and poor, like that. So most of these man-made problems causing by with too much emphasis secondary level of differences. If we consider seriously the basic level, all are same human being. They want happy life. I want, also is want a happy life. So if someone hurts me, I feel very uncomfortable. So if I hurt them, they also feel uncomfortable. So according to your own experience, you see, restrain harming them. If possible, serve them, help them. If not, at least restrain harming them. That's the meaning of Ahimsa. Although the person who introduced me already mentioned all my sort of the important part of my thought. So not necessary to repeat. So like that. So therefore, you see, my number one commitment is promotion of human value. That's compassion, love. Genuine love there, forgiveness automatically come. Tolerance also come. So now we are lacking emphasis about that. Violence, including this war, past war, you see, on the level of secondary level of differences. My nation, their nation. Now the reality, today's world, unlike past. Past is a different country, is more or less self-sufficient. So at that time, the concept of our victory, defeat, the others or enemy or who create some disagreement with you, there's some extent we can say your victory. Now today's world no longer that reality. Destroy your neighbor is actually destroy yourself. Because economy and many fields heavily interdependent. Future of East depend on West. Western future very much depend on East. Similarly, North and South like that. Then global warming, national boundary, no relevant. Global economy, no national boundary or religious boundary. So now today's reality, we have to make effort to promote sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. Then other problems on the due to secondary level, so when we face that, we must go down, we are same. And then the reconciliation, dialogue. That's the human way. We have this beautiful language. So once we come across some danger of conflict, then talk. In order to successful dialogue, it is impossible to successful dialogue to come the strong sort of feeling, I should win, they should defeat. Then how can develop dialogue? So dialogue, you must respect their right, their interest. And as is my introduction, because introduction is mentioned, something like 50-50. Like that. That's a human way. Respect their interest, their right. So, I quite often you see mentioning 20th century become century of bloodshed. Immense violence. According to some historian, over 200 million people killed. So that immense violence brought some good shape, new shape of this world. Then some people may justify it, the immense violence, but that's not the case. Beginning of 21st century, now we are facing some problems, killing, limited war, here and there. Now today, big number of refugees, you see, coming from Arab area, like that. So these sort of immense sort of, I would say, unstable or sad sort of event, these things, I feel, due to, I would say, the mistake, our past sort of mistake. And 20th century, people, you see, military force is the ultimate sort of method, you see, to solve problem. So First World War, Second World War, Korean War, Vietnam War, this. So it's use more violence. Very nature of violence, just simply control your physical, not mind. For temporarily control physical, in mind, more hatred, more sort of the feeling of revenge come. So then, violence endless, violence, counter-violence like that. So this 21st century now should be century of peace. Peace means no longer any problem, any potential of violence. See, so long we human beings remain on this planet, some different sort of interests and different views are always there. So how to bring peaceful century, we have to, whenever we come across some problem, we use human way of approach, not violent way, not use force. Human way of approach, for that's dialogue. So this century, in order to be peaceful century, I think the reality, we have to make this century of dialogue. It is possible through education, through awareness, through more contact. Unlike past sort of time, now today, because of technology and also lifestyle, I think east, west, north, south is very much interrelated. So, you see, it is much easier, make friendship. Then, you see, we can build this century of dialogue. So all this very much related with sense of the oneness of seven billion human beings. So my number one commitment, promotion about basic human value. The second commitment, religious harmony. I am Buddhist. According to my own experience, you see, the message of various different religious traditions, main message is message of love. As I mentioned earlier, various different major religious tradition is, I think, a promoter of love, compassion. If we properly implement, seriously practice, then all major world religious tradition carry same message. So religion, I usually see three aspects. Number one aspect is religion. That is practice of love, forgiveness, tolerance, self-discipline, contentment. Same, that's the religious aspect. Then a philosophical aspect, there is differences. One category of religion, believe creator. One category of religion, no concept of creator, but rather self-creation, like that. And then within the theistic religion, there are differences. Within the non-theistic religion, there are differences. That's the philosophical part. Then we have to ask, what is the purpose of this different philosophy? Or some say there is creator, some say no creator. Goal is same, to promote practice of love, compassion. According to different mental disposition, to some people, the concept of creator is so powerful. You see, we are almost like son of God. So God is our father. So our father, when we describe father, infinite love. So we are son of that kind of father. And this very life created by God. So you have some kind of intimacy with God. So more intimacy feeling, there's more willingness to follow God's way. Very powerful. To some people, that way of approach is immense sort of helpful to cultivate love and promote love. Then non-theistic, see, your own future entirely depends on your own action. So therefore, helping others, compassionate action brings happiness to you. Anger's action, harm other, brings negative effect, right? negative consequences you will face. So you see, that way of approach, you see, to some people, very powerful. I want a happy life. So the basic sort of causes of happiness within my own hand. I have to act, more compassionately act. I should restrain harmful action to others. So to some people, that way of approach is very good. So therefore, doesn't matter different sort of philosophical views, but same purpose. So I always look that way. So therefore, I really admire all different major religious traditions. All have same potential. Different philosophical views, the same purpose. So therefore, you see, when we look there, when we look that way, then genuine sort of respect, admiration towards all different traditions. So religious harmony must come on the sort of mutual respect. And in order to develop mutual respect, mutual learning, close relations, remain distance separately, and say harmony, not practical, not effective. Now here, I think India's 1,000-year-old tradition, Ahimsa. Ahimsa is sort of action, or physical, verbal sort of action. Physical, verbal action, whether violent action or non-violent action, entirely depend on motivation. Out of compassion, out of sense of concern of their well-being, respect their right, then verbal action, physical action become non-violent way. Out of anger, fear, suspicion, even sort of, even sort of a nice word, essentially violence. So the demarcation, violence and non-violence, we cannot sort of make distinction on the sort of appearances of physical action and verbal action. We have to sort of think motivation. Motivation, compassionate motivation, then even a little bit harsh word. I think some parent, you see, out of sense of concern of your little bit sort of naughty children, sometimes you use a little bit harsh word. My tutor also uses sometimes harsh word use. So I realize it's out of genuine sense of concern about my own education, my own well-being. So that is non-violence. And someone, you see some different motivation, you see smiling. They're smiling, artificial smiling, not genuine smile, isn't it? Some I usually call genuine smile, artificial smile, and a diplomatic smile, isn't it? Sometimes, the insight of how to cheat that person, how to deceive this person, isn't it? So therefore, no matter what sort of expression, physical level, or physical action, verbal action, the demarcation, violence and non-violence related with the motivation. So any action out of sense of concern of others' well-being, and out of sort of compassion, that is non-violence. Non-violence. So like that. So when we pay more attention about non-violence, we have to pay more attention about mental level. So now, in order to promote non-violence, we have to look seriously existing education system. Existing education system, very much oriented about external values, material value. Not much talk about our inner value. In the past, as far as inner value, I think the modern education started at that time. The moral issue, moral principle, that religious institution carry full responsibility. So at that time, it is sufficient. Now time passes. Now, for example, today, out of 7 billion human beings, over 1 billion non-believer. And also, you see, among the believer also, some sort of quite mischievous believer also there. So these are lack of conviction about moral principle. So now, the religious promotion of moral principle, relying on religious faith, not adequate now, not effective. So we need another way, another method. That's through education. So now here, education is something universal. So like India, is when India, 1,000 years, different religious tradition there. So the concept of secular develop. In the West, some my friend, you see, secular means disrespect religions or remain distance from religion. According to Indian understanding, as some my friend in the West, even you see, sort of they have the view, the secular, some close connection with atheism. According to Indian understanding, not that. According to Indian understanding, secular means respect all religions and also non-believer. That's, I think, very relevant to this world. So modern India, when India's constitution, you see, made, because India, multi-religious nation, therefore India's constitution based on secular concept. So this is not at all disrespect religion. So when I use the secular, is according to Indian understanding. So now, time come, the way to promote inner value through secular way. So, in the education field, from kindergarten level up to university level, I think in education field should include about education, moral education. Moral, if you are believer, wonderful. You are believer, very helpful sort of instrument to promote, as I mentioned earlier, these inner value. If you are not much sort of interested about religion, okay, that's up to individual. But you have to be kind person, affectionate person, because your own interest. So that we can educate through education. So now time come, I think we should seriously look existing education system. Obviously, we have this body. And the materialistic sort of education provide physical comfort. So for mental comfort, we need some kind of education or knowledge how to bring inner peace. So more and more people relying on drugs. Why? They have some sort of problems, stress, too much stress or anger, like that. So we need sort of awareness or through education. When anxiety, fear, these develop, the effective way through mental thinking, to countermeasure. So this, I think, should include our modern education system. Now, last 10 years, almost 10 years, number of sort of scientists and also educationists now really carrying some sort of research work, how to implement in secular education field about this moral ethics, education of moral ethics. So once moral ethics, compassionate sort of attitude there, then religious harmony automatically comes. Then third, I'm Tibetan. So I think 90% of Tibetan people trust me. So I have some moral responsibility. Now, as far as political responsibility is concerned, since 2011, I totally retired. No political responsibility. The political matter is elected political leadership handling that. I completely retired. Not only myself retired, but also 4-century-old tradition. Dalai Lama institution automatically become head of both temporal and spirituality. Now that voluntarily, happily, proudly ended. So now I'm just ordinary citizen of Tibet, like that. Now my sort of commitment regarding Tibet is preservation of Tibetan culture. Tibetan culture is, I think, culture of peace, non-violence, ultimately culture of compassion. Tibetan children, young age, we don't know about these different, also the difficult, complicated Buddhist philosophy, but simply we have the habit, oh, don't kill animal, don't kill mosquito. I must confess, mosquito. You see, when my mood good, and there is quite sort of sure no malaria carrier, then occasionally I give blood to mosquito. But then one mosquito come, yes, give blood. Second come, a little hesitate. And then the worst thing is when I got this very sound sleep, then come. Then sometimes quite a violent way like that. So basically, Tibetan from childhood, we always used to restrain killing insect. So that's very good. It's from childhood. You see some kind of respect of others' life. So that kind of cultural heritage is whether believer or non-believer, whether religious-minded or not, really the basis of Ahimsa, non-violence. So in that respect, I often, you see, telling the male and the female, I think several thousand years ago, we have no concept of leadership. Then gradually, population increased. Farming system also start. Then, you see, because of the feeling of mind, you see, greater. So some stealings or bully, these things happen. Then human community, you see, find we need leadership. So at that time, no rule of education. So therefore, in order to become leadership, it's a physical strength. Like other animal, most sort of physically, you see, more stronger, usually you carry leadership. We human beings also like that. So that even sort of religious sort of field also, some kind of male dominance, you see, then develop. So then education develop. Education brings more equality. So now, 21st century, existing education, as I mentioned earlier, not so adequate in order to build healthy human being. a healthy mind, healthy body, existing education, only healthy body, not healthy mind. So now here, you see, we need a special effort for promotion of compassion or love. In this respect, biologically, female have more sensitivity about others' pain. Therefore, female should take more active role regarding promotion of human love, affection. That's my view. So my sort of friend, many years ago, when you see, I talk, you see, these things. So one my friend, you see, described towards me, you are feminist Dalai Lama. So I really committed. You see, firstly, in the society, I think here, how many Indians? Raise hand. Okay. You see, in India, still, you see, some little discrimination, male and female, isn't it? Particularly in the rural area. And also caste system. I think these, now outdated. So I mentioned, you see, all religion, three aspects: religious aspect, philosophical aspect, then culture or habit. So that, from time to time, according to the existing sort of situation, you have to change. Caste system, outdated. Little discrimination, or male and female, now outdated. So therefore, and then like Islam. Islam, religious aspect, wonderful. Since my childhood in Lhasa, you see, a few thousand Muslims there, last 4 centuries. These Muslims, very peaceful, and almost no record quarrel carried by these Muslims. Very peaceful. And then, after, India, after I reached India, more sort of the connection with Muslim, Indian Muslim. So I learned genuine Islam follower, Islam practitioner, if carry some bloodshed, actually no longer genuine practitioner. Wonderful. And then Islam. Islam practitioner must extend love towards entire creature of Allah. Wonderful. Then the meaning of jihad, not hitting other people, but jihad means combat your own internal destructive emotion. That's the meaning of jihad. So then, cultural aspect. This is, for example, Sharia law. You see, at that time, the great sort of the founder of Muhammad, the nomad area. So no proper rule. Some criminals. So, in his teaching, emphasis, according to that sort of reality, situation, Sharia law. So it is now Ahimsa, Jain, sort of very, very strict Ahimsa and vegetarianism. At the time when Mahavira come, even sort of animal sacrifice. So even you see, effect farming economy. So such period, Mahavira come. So because of that circumstances, he emphasizes Ahimsa, and not kill, and vegetarianism. And after, I think, three-four sort of decades, Buddha come. Similar sort of emphasis, ahimsa, respect life. So the existing sort of circumstances is also, you see, cause certain teaching. There's a certain sort of habit. So that part, situation change. So from time to time, then accordingly we have to sort of change. No need change about religious faith or philosophical field, but cultural field, I think we need. So therefore, this is some, you see, Indian sort of tradition, as a tradition, but you need change. That I often, you see, telling when we have some sort of a gathering with spiritual leaders in India, like that. So, preservation of Tibetan culture. And then, very important thing is also the preservation of environment. Tibet, many Indians, sort of ecologists, they say Tibet, because of high altitude and dry climate, you need special care about the environment. Once damage takes place, it takes longer time to recover, like that. And then major rivers, including Ganges, Brahmaputra, measure these rivers which come through sort of India and also as a northern India and also Pakistan and to China, Yangtze River, you see these Mekong River, also usually come from Tibet. So preservation of Tibetan ecology is very, very important, not only concerned for 6 million Tibetan people, but a larger number of people in that area. These rivers, I think roughly speaking, over 1 billion human beings' life depend on these rivers. So whole northern India is very much depend on these rivers. Occasionally these rivers also create a lot of problem. But basically without these, once these rivers dry, then immense suffering. So preservation of Tibetan ecology is very essential. So one Chinese ecologist, he wrote one article I saw a few years ago. You see, he found the effect towards global warming from Tibetan plateau is as much as South Pole, North Pole. So he described Tibetan plateau as a third pole, one Chinese ecologist. So that I sort of say fully committed. Try to make awareness importance of or delicate situation about Tibetan ecology. So here, friends, you see, when you have some opportunity, visit Tibet, and please study or look carefully about ecology problem. And also, you see, nowadays, you see more and more Chinese students, and also, you see, some visitors or some businessmen, women. So please talk these things. It is everybody's interest, and particularly the Chinese people, and Tibetan culture, culture of peace, culture of non-violence, related with Buddha Dharma. Buddha Dharma also Nalanda tradition. The Chinese Buddhist tradition also same source. Therefore, the Tibetan Buddhism immense sort of useful to millions of Chinese Buddhists. Now China, over 400 millions Buddhist population like that. So therefore, already number of Chinese Buddhists, you see, come to India, you see, receiving or some might sort of talks like that, teaching like that. So therefore, it's a preservation of Tibetan Buddhism and Tibetan Buddhist culture. It's very much related with also the well-being or benefit to large number of people in that part of the world. So, like that. So, number one, promotion of human value on the basis of sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. This is responsibility of every 7 billion human being. Please keep in your mind, think. If you feel some reason, then think more and share more people. If you feel these are nonsense, then forget it, no problem. Okay, and as well as religious harmony, please. Now here, Indian community. In the past, you see, some occasion when I met you see, some Indian sort of small community, I expressing, you have a very useful tradition, Ahimsa, and on the basis of Ahimsa, religious harmony. This, every Indian community have the responsibility to share to more people. And this in England, I think Asians, from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, also you see, more or less, you see, live side by side. So occasionally, there's some Diwali like that. You see, Kasota, invite more people, different religious tradition, Islam, Hindu, or Buddhist, together, and invite your friend, European people, share the Ahimsa, 1,000-year-old, over 3,000 years, Ahimsa tradition. Ahimsa tradition really affect modern India. India, compare neighboring state, much more stable and harmony. So occasionally some problem here and there. That's quite understandable. Over 1 billion human beings, some mischievous people must be there. Over 1 billion people like like you say, wonderful human being, then not human society. So some mischievous people must be there. So therefore it is understandable. But overall picture, I think compare neighbor states, Pakistan, Bangladesh, even Sri Lanka, India, very stable, very peaceful. So this, you see, shows it is very possible different religious traditions live together. India, quite complicated country and a developing country. So a lot of problem. However, 1,000-year-old your tradition makes peaceful, harmonious society. So you Indian should feel proud. And I also now, you see, often I'm telling I'm son of India because, you know, my brain, every particle of my brain filled by Nalanda thought. Since my childhood, I study. So very, very useful. And then this physical, now almost over 56 years, this physical survived by Indian dals, Indian chapati, Indian rice. So I really consider I'm son of India. Then my activities, I consider I'm messenger of Indian tradition, Indian ancient thought. So quite often in India, when I participate in some sort of gatherings with Indian sort of sadhus and religious leaders, I tell them, I appealing them, as a messenger, I'm quite active. Promotion of Ahimsa, promotion of religious harmony. Now my boss, the Indian sort of spiritual leaders and some of these sort of sadhus, you see, now they should carry more active sort of work promoting these values. Sometimes I criticize them. You see, they carry some pujas, some rituals, and some color put here, and go like that. It's not sufficient. Now come out to public and to tell 1,000-year-old these deeper value. And also some of these drawbacks Now, spiritual leader must talk loudly, publicly, then public understand these sort of caste system, these things. So therefore, you see, I consider as a Kasota messenger of India. Now, today, I really have the opportunity to talk my Indian brothers, sisters. Thank you very much. And then now some question. Some question? Yes. Thank you. Yes, how to manage? Question? Oh, already? Okay. Read.
First question. Day to day, we often find ourselves in small conflicts. In what ways can we implement Ahimsa in everyday life?
I think combination, warm-heartedness and human intelligence, combine these two, then genuine, meaningful, practical Ahimsa will develop. Only intelligence? No. Only compassion? No. Compassion gives us inner strength, self-confidence. But still, compassion alone, something like warm heart but no hand. So intelligence provides us, action like that. So therefore, these two combine. That's important. Then, the Ahimsa on global level, from where start individual? Ahimsa or compassion will not come from sky out of prayer. No. I think 1,000 years we pray. Nothing happened. So sometimes I jokingly say, half joke, half serious. If we met God, then ask, peaceful world or reduce this problem, then God will tell you, all these problems you created, not created by God. God, out of compassion, created a compassionate human being. So you utilize wrong way the free will. So God blame us. So you create this problem. You have the responsibility to solve, not through prayer. Isn't it? So therefore, we individual, must start inner peace with combination of warm-heartedness and because of the brilliant intelligence, call it that. So start from individual. Then share with your family member. Then your neighbor. That way, community. So peaceful, compassionate society must start from individual. Okay. Next.
Is there ever a situation where Ahimsa is the least favorable of the options?
As I mentioned earlier, generally, any human problem, I think, problem which we created, the only solution, only proper way to solve this problem is Ahimsa. Violence, as I mentioned earlier, violence, counter-violence, very difficult. When September 11th event happened, and I expressed, today, 1 bin Laden. After a few years, 10 bin Laden may come. Then afterward, 100 bin Laden may come. So we have to handle these problems with compassionate way or dialogue way. That's the only way. Now, I often see expressing nowadays Muslims sort of hardliner. I think Indian Muslims, I mentioned many occasions in India, the Indian Muslim, you see, through centuries, because of the circumstances, more open-minded. So in India, you see, almost you see no sort of what's the case, fighting Shia and Sunni. Pakistan, Islam country, but fighting problem, Shia and Sunni there. So the Indian Muslim, I think should find out some ways and means to bring more because of the calmness in those Muslim hardliner. The more sort of violent way to counter for these. Some cases may be inevitable, but overall this is not at all proper solution, proper way to solve this problem. So we have to cool down. There are immense emotions. Emotion become out of control. Then person become like mad person. So we first sort of method, we have to cool down their emotion. Then talk. Now there are sort of activities, there are actions. It's actually very harmful for image of Islam. So therefore, you see, calm down, sit together and talk. So that's the only way, like that. Then
my friends were held hostage for 24 hours, tortured, raped, and then murdered executioner style. I cannot get over this or even begin to forgive the perpetrators. Do you have any advice, please?
very sad, very sad. When I developed that kind of feeling, you see, then I myself ask, if you let develop anger and the feeling of revenge, that really solve the problem. The already murdered person, no matter how your sort of cruel sort of activities, the dead person cannot bring back. Already dead. So you see, more anger, more feeling of revenge. You see, your peace of mind destroyed. Eventually, your physical health destroyed, and your friends, your family members also suffer. It already happened. Very sad. But now nothing can be done. And then accept the reality. One 8th century's Buddhist master of Nalanda, he expressed, when we passing through some tragic situation, then analyze the situation. If there is a way to overcome that problem, then no need to worry, rather work hard to overcome. If there is no way to overcome, then no use too much worry. I think very realistic advice, isn't it? Like that. So that, I think, your case, think more seriously. What value? Is it too much worry and a revenge feeling? Intolerance. Not much help. I think much better, instead of that, try to calm yourself. And whatever your life, your work carry, then more people, and then eventually realize, oh, you're a very courageous person. In spite of that tragic sort of situation, that person still carry, you see, your work calmly, peacefully, like that. So that's my view. Then you have to judge by yourself.
Economic growth has often found its foundations in violence, conflict, and destruction of nature. How can we grow economically in a non-violent way?
I think some complication here, but I'm not expert. We need is more economic development. 7 billion human beings, I think a majority of them under poverty, difficult. So global level, huge gap, rich and poor. And the national level also, there's huge gap, rich and poor. So we need more money, more development. But the economic development, more equal way, that's important. In India, you see, some billionaire, big house and a helicopter, and, millions of crores of people still under poverty and difficult. So I always telling, expressing, now real transformation of India must take place in rural area. India, farmland country. So real development must take in rural area. Recently, I went, I can't remember the name, one important Buddhist sites. From Delhi, I think 3-4 hours sort of drive. It's quite close. So in Delhi, I got flu, some sort of dirty sort of air like that. When I reached there, clean, weather also very clear, blue, and the air also very fresh. So then I suggested there, and also I met some UB officials also there. I mentioned, you must build this area. So more hotel, some sort of better facility. Then I think many people from Delhi, when they too much sort of tired, then few hours of drive, so they will come that area and relax. So like that, in Delhi, now, like in Tokyo and some sort of different sort of big cities, now road, see 3 or 4 bridges. More cars come. The still is not sufficient. So therefore, rural area must be built. So education field, education facility, as well as health facility, improve, educate, and some universities or some sort of important industries must sort of set up in a rural area. So you see people, you see, the rural area, very, very productive. At the same time, you see, clean. Like that. So that I really feel that those richer family of Indian community should concentrate development in rural area. That's very important. Everywhere, you see, city expand. And then more population, more crowded city. And then automatically become dirty and some crimes like that. When 1956, I came to India, first time Buddha Jayanti celebration. Then I also have the opportunity to visit Bangalore. Then Bangalore, clean, less population. Nowadays, overcrowded, like that. So, clean, kasota, high quality, like that. I think you can do that. India's existing sort of economy system, I think, unsustainable. Very unsustainable. So you see, you have to think when you develop economy, more holistic view and long-term interest. I'm not an economist, but it's outsider, look from outside, that kind of feeling. Yes?
Why has religion continually has...
What? Yes? Louder. Yes? And then, what question?
Your talk is about Ahimsa, which is non-violence in English.
Ahimsa.
That non-violence starts in the mind with the mind of hatred. So my question is, why are you as a spiritual leader creating hatred in the mind of your Tibetan people towards different practices?
거기서. Ahimsa 거리. 그리고 No, you see these people who carry some kind of, I'll say, almost like you see they are duty now, everywhere. You see, I really feel great pity. I myself, I myself, you see, worship this spirit from 1951 till beginning of 70, out of my ignorance. Then my senior tutor very much sort of, they doubt about this spirit. So then I carry thorough investigation over 400 years history. Then it becomes very clear most of the yellow-haired sect's master consider this is evil spirit, very harmful. So therefore, you see, I stop, worship this spirit. And then eventually, concerned sort of monasteries also asked me. So then, you see, this group started like that. So, you see, there are these people, very innocent, ignorant. They do not know. They do not know the reality. So my answer, you should go to India, investigate whether, you see, whether we really carried the practice of banning about that. No. In South India, our bigger monasteries, institution there, I think at least 2,000 monks still carry their sort of prayer. Like that. Completely free. All these refugee places, government of India provide land for our settlement. So this, you see, we can easily expel these people. We never done that. They remain as a refugee community and they carry their own belief. So right from the beginning, You see, I made clear, according to my own experience. You see, I found, the harmful thing, that it is my duty to make clear. Whether people listen or not, up to them. So we never use banning about their practice, like that. And then some of them, describe me as a Muslim, not Buddhist. So doesn't matter. I really feel laugh like that. So here in London, when I met a Tibetan, I asked them, please don't feel negative feeling or anger. So you should feel pity. These, out of ignorance, they follow wrong way, like that. Yes. Yeah. Last question.
What is the purpose of this life that we have given?
Correct. I already mentioned, happiness, joyfulness is the purpose of our life. Then all our activities is supposed to bring more joyfulness. So, okay. But often, due to lack of long-sighted view and lack of self-confidence, sometimes our own action creates more miserable experiences, like that. So, thank you.
Your Holiness, Dhanyavad, thank you very much. I would now request Sri Nemu Chandaria ji to give a vote of thanks.
Yes, you read that. I will watch.
Okay. Your Holiness, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you all. It's my privilege today to present a vote of thanks. It's my desire that you join me in thanking His Holiness, and therefore I start by thanking you, the audience, for your presence today at this auspicious event. You all have been a most wonderful audience, listening patiently and with interest to the enlightening discourse by His Holiness. Please, let's have the first round of applause for the audience. Just as I said, I want you all to join me in presenting our sincere thanks and gratitude to His Holiness for a wonderful insight to the topic of Ahimsa, non-violence. All Indic religions support the doctrine of compassion towards life, and hence, this is India's gift to the world. His Holiness has delivered this delicate subject with his excellent eloquence and made it easy to absorb with his sense of humor. We appreciate the efforts made by His Holiness in promoting a world free of war and terrorism, and we pray that the world receives his message with solemnity it deserves. We all join together to present our salutations to His Holiness and pray for a healthy and long life for him to continue his mission. Please put your hands together to thank him from the bottom of our heart for this wonderful opportunity he gave us today. A program of this magnitude needs a lot of hard work and planning. Therefore, I wish to thank first officers and staff of the Office of Tibet in UK for initiating this event, the directors of the Institute of Genealogy for their support, the volunteers, social medias through their websites and newsletters, and more than 100 Indian communities and organizations, my colleague Vinod Taylor and Dr. Nanda Kumara of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, who arranged for the musicians Vinay and Sarasti. Finally, in Tattvat Sutra's 521 aphorism, it says, Parasparop Graho Jivanam, which means that all souls render service to one another, that all life is interdependent. His Holiness has lit a lamp in our hearts to understand the importance of this aphorism. May this lamp be the source of lighting many other lamps. May the world accept this doctrine of peace and coexistence of all living things. What a coincidence. Tomorrow, 21st September, is a World Day of Compassion celebrated since 1982 by all countries. Thank you all once again and have a safe journey home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sign language needed.
Thank you. Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you. I want to add 2 sentences. You see, someone who express your concern about these demonstrators. You know, I want to tell you, we Buddhists should follow authentic Nalanda tradition. Some individual lamas, little bit spirit worships. These are not authentic Nalanda tradition. So, as a follower of Tibetan Buddhism, you should study more this one thing. Then some people, they consider, this is question of religious freedom. And actually, my own experience, till I worship, this spirit, I have no religious freedom because this is very, very sectarian. Therefore, I also, keep distance from other Tibetan Buddhist tradition. After I stopped this practice, then I got the religious freedom. I received teaching from different Tibetan Buddhist tradition. So my approach is like first Dalai Lama, second Dalai Lama, third Dalai Lama, fifth Dalai Lama, and 13th Dalai Lama, non-sectarian principle. While I am promoting different world religious tradition, harmonious sort of unity, then within Tibetan Buddhist tradition should not be sectarian. You see, this tradition very, very sort of what's a very sort of the sectarian basis. You should investigate more. Thank you.